creatures! Quick! Destroy their weapon!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangout. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the MakeToys Jetstream thrust in the booster Ramjet. And so we're going to talk about both of these in this video. We're going to review both of them and take a look at comparisons, transformations, all that kind of stuff. But I did get these from Shozy. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours to both links to both of these figures, and I believe they're in stock right now. Now, I have been talking about these for a while, and I said that this mold lends itself to Coneheads the best, and I still kind of feel that way with them in hand right now. So we're going to talk about this, the good and the bad, the pluses, the minuses, but here's a hint, they're pretty decent. We'll talk about this coming up. Alright, so here is the packaging, and it looks pretty much like you'd expect for a Conehead Seeker from MakeToys. There's the top, if I get it all out of frame, and then here it is on the back. So what the back of these guys looks like, you kind of see all kinds of stuff that you can do with them and all that. And in case you're curious, this is what the Dirge looks like. Yeah, they sort of match. There's the team. Okay, so right out of the box you have to do some stuff with these guys, and basically the legs are condensed down, so you just open them up like during transformation. When we do the transformation, you're going to kind of see how that all operates, and then you just unclip them from up there and clip them down here, and then slip the arms down a bit, add on some of the accessories. And with this one though, I think it's a big deal to talk about the wings on this guy. So with thrust, the wings on him, they hang a little low if you slide them down, and I'll show you the sliders here in a bit, but it's probably not as low as most people would want for the character, for it to be cartoon accurate and all of that kind of stuff. So looking over here, they're never going to get that low unless you kind of pop them down, and then they'll be in the incorrect orientation. So I want to quickly show the slider. There's a slider joint here and a slider joint there, and you can get them down as low as this. Now, if you're going to fold it down, you're going to slide them back on that slider joint to fold them down and go that route. But I think this is the most accurate you're going to want to go with. This is kind of how I'm going to display them, but it's not as low. And when we get to some of the other comparisons, I mean, Toy World didn't really do a good job of that, and so we will show some other stuff in comparisons. But that's kind of, for both of them, you need to fix the legs and all of that good stuff, and then you'll need to fix the arms and kind of situate your wings and put on your ion blasters and all that kind of stuff. So they do come with a lot of accessories that are very redundant, so I'm just going to put out the accessories that are not. So they both come with a flight stand just like this, and it's a pretty decent flight stand, and it does house these blast effects. Now I've got one blast effect on him and one blast effect on him from the other set, so one of them, and it's all exactly the same. So flight stand, we'll see this later when we get into alt mode. Now they both come with an extra set of these thrusters. Obviously these missile launching kind of things for alt mode, of course, or you can put them on there if you want. I mean, however you want to do that. They both come with the adapter for the flight stand, which looks really good, and it also is kind of a gap filler and makes the alt mode look a little bit better. So it's kind of cool. Parts forming to a small degree. They also come with the exact faces, and I'm not even joking. I was looking at these and trying to figure out if there was any difference between them, but they all have the same face except just like a different color of eyes. Example here is this one. If I can get it to, it's just the same exact face, just slightly different paint, which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. They give you a lot of options and a lot of things that you can do. We got a smiling, we got a kind of a screaming, and I'm not able to get that to focus very well. Screaming face, all that kind of stuff. So how we'll swap out the faces, we'll show that here in just a second. And then we have these smaller nubs, which you just pop this off and put it on there for the alt mode. Okay, so swapping the face, we are going to just lift it up like that, pop the old face on, old face off, new face on. We're going to give them a bit of a smirk, I guess. And they both act the same way. They both respond the same way. And so with that, easy head face swaps. I like that. I don't like anything too complicated. I don't like unscrewing anything. So that works. So I'm guessing these are wing fillers that come with these for Skywarp and Thundercracker. They look like the right colors to me, but I don't have their version of these. Just have their Starscream. So with that, I'm not exactly sure how badly you need wing fillers for those, but there they are included. It's cool. All right, so let's take a quick look at Booster up and down. Then we're going to take another quick look at the Jetstream up and down. Then we'll do some comparisons and stuff. So with this, let's go ahead and pop this off. Not that off. Pop this off. It pops off in a couple of points there. Okay, so looking at his head, he does have just kind of standard faces that we see all over there. Some paint and some stuff up here. Some paint going on up here. And then going down on this, we do have the cockpit painted. So it's not clear and transparent. It is painted like that. And I think that's the same way that they did their other one. We do have a nice white paint right here. And this is die-cast metal. And it has been a long time since I've really done much with this Dirge. So I wanted to check, and it has die-cast thighs also and some paint on it. And so with that, I do want to point out that this has some really nice looking, it's not painted, but nice looking plastic that's a shiny sheen to it. So I think it might have a bit of an overcoat to it. I mean, you can see that shine to it. It's shinier than most any other just plastic. It almost looks painted. I was thinking it was painted, but it is not painted. It's maybe a clear coat on it or something. Okay, so getting down here to the knees, we do have some paint on the knees and all of this kind of stuff. So this is painted up pretty nice. And then maybe some clear coat on the plastics. But I do like the color breakups. I do like the way this looks and all that. So that looks nice. Also from the back, I do want to say it's relatively clean from the back. But let's get all the way to the frame. There is some kibble on there, but it's still overall relatively clean. Not quite as clean as, say, maybe like the Deformation Space, some of those other ones, but it's still not horrible in my opinion. Now getting down to the articulation, I do want to point out that this is pretty much the same articulation as all these Seekers that we get, but I'm going to go ahead and show it for those who, this might be their first MakeToys Seeker slash Conehead. So the head goes up, down a bit, side to side, and it is not on a ball joint, it's more on a kind of a universal kind of thing. You do have the shoulder out to there, 360. Of course, it feels like a soft but very wide type of ratchet, so that's kind of what's going on there. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which are great, and then the hands, they move side to side, and it's tight, but the fingers are super loose. For my expectation, it was just looser than I expected. They're not broken, they didn't fall off or anything, but they're loose. They are 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on them. So I'm just feeling like they're fragile. I didn't break anything on these, and so maybe I'm post-traumatic stress from another figure, but you got the waist swivel and an ab crunch, which sort of breaks it up a little bit, but it's okay. It's a decent one. Now, the waist area and the way they did it, it does kind of, when you're making poses, kind of pops out of place, but then when you put it in place in a pose, it'll stay. So that's kind of fine right there. You do have these hip flaps and side flaps so that you can extend a very tight ratchet to the front. And then with this back flap there, going all the way to the back like this. And it is another one of those soft ratchets, but it's kind of, there's a lot of distance between each one, but it's not that bad. And then out to the side is just a friction, which is all these ratchets and then just friction. So it's kind of the weakest point of those legs, but it really doesn't make a difference when you're posing it in normal poses. So then we do have the thigh swivel like you're used to getting. And then, is it a double jointed knee? I think it is a double jointed knee. Yes, double jointed knee. And then this did pop out on me. That is tight too. That's a tight joint right there. And so there we go. Let's get that back in place. And then down here we've got ankle tilt. So kind of pretty much everything you're gonna need to pose this guy up great. But I do want to say with MakeToys, you do have the abs, the waist swivel, and the ab crunch, which a lot of people get upset about it not existing in other Seekers. So there's not much of a difference with this one here. Obviously, a lot is about the same, except for the wings. The wings are really the only difference. We already kind of covered that. So paint is about the same, except of course different colors of the plastic and all of that. But I do really like how it looks. I like the shininess of this. I like how, if the light can catch it, it is shinier than the last one they put out, their end game. And so with that, and still looks pretty clean from the back. I think it's a little bit cleaner. It is slightly different how they work on this piece here. It's a slight different to that. You kind of have that big butt flap, but it kind of rolls with punches and moves however you want it to go. But yeah, it's not bad at all. These are going to be my cone heads. I have already decided these will be the ones on the shelf because right now I'm just playing the Toy World. But I was really hoping for Deformation Space to make them. But these are the ones that are going to be my set, and as you can see, they look pretty good. They have that shine, that sheen, and when we do some comparisons, you can see how it compares to some others. Okay, so I got a literal ton of comparisons to get through, but this is the team. This is the MakeToys team, starting with the end game and then moving into your Jetstream and your booster and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a nice looking team. It works fine. It works really well. Would it be better if we had Deformation Space make them? I don't know. There's a lot of rework and retooling to turn a Seeker into a Conehead, but with it, I do still feel like this is the best use of the Seeker mold, and I think it was their end game for this mold to turn them into Coneheads because the lower legs and the way they're designed look more like Conehead lower legs. Okay, so next we want to look at all of these versions of the Ramjet. So this one is Toy World, which is super huge, super tall, and I liked it because of the size, and I liked it because it was technically free because I traded somebody for him. So traded a buddy of mine. And then this one here is the Takara, and I've just got to say that looking at all three of these, I do like the look of this one better. I kind of like the clear canopy the Takara has, but the shininess, the so close to cartoon accurate look to it for the most part, and just the way it looks and the way it feels, and it may have a little fiddliness in the waist area and the fiddliness and the looseness of the hands, but after messing with Takara's, I mean, Takara's is kind of fiddly in the waist area and fiddly in the knee and leg area. So yeah, I do think build quality and everything is superior to Takara's for this guy, and but I think this one's like solid as a rock though, but I'm all about the looks, right? And then here we go with just versus the Toy World. So I still like it better. So smooth, so clean. See, a lot of people are going to say, hey, I like the detail of the Toy World, which I'm not saying that that's bad. I don't think it looks bad. I just think that I prefer more of a G1, and I'm that G1 two-tune guy. I also want to show on Toy World there was really no option. I messed with it when I got it, and I tried to mess around with it just now. There's really no option to get it to do much more than like this for the wings and make it look like that, I guess. But I don't think that looks great either. And every picture I looked at online, they're just, you know, the standard traditional up like this. So I think MakeToys at least make an attempt. MakeToys would make an attempt. I mean, I'm okay with that. Okay, trying to get this set up where there's no glare, reflectiveness. Now, I want to say that do not adjust your television. We control the vertical and the horizontal here. There are two different colors of purple when it comes to the Deformation Space over here and Takara over here. They just look different, so that's just the way it is. Different colors of purple, but I do prefer the design of this better. I think that fits okay. It's the Deformation Space head is just a little bit below the tip of this cone head, so it is bigger. Deformation Space is bigger, but I think that fits fine. I think that'll work. I mean, especially since most people are going to display these on a different shelf than the Seekers, or you would elevate them and be maybe behind the Seekers in the front. There's all different ways to do it. It's slightly shorter, but I think it gets the job done, and I think it's fine. I think they work together well, and this actually feels very right too, because cone heads should be taller. They should be a slight half head taller. At least the cone should go up above the head, and so either one would work fine. It's, you know, to your preference. So here they are. Well, here's just one of them next to Megatron and Optimus. And I want to point out that size-wise, I'm okay with the size. It's fine. But the shine and the sheen, this, and I'm going to try to move without anything falling, but the sheen on this glistens. Yeah, you can kind of see that glisten a lot more than what was going on with the Magic Square. The Magic Square is supposed to be an EX, supposed to be shiny, all that kind of stuff, and I don't think that it's really painted, but this isn't painted either, and it has kind of the clear coat, but I think that this was more effective at getting a shiny look to it than Magic Square. I still like the look of Magic Square. I talked a lot of trash about it, by the way, and I'm actually eating my words because I think it's great. I think it's a great looking figure, but the way I'm moving things around, he's probably going to fall, get him more stable. But that's how it looks, and I really think that they did a good job with the shininess of this. So before we get into the transformation, I do want to show the flight stand in the bot mode, and as you can see right there, there is this kind of looks like a micro USB port upside down there, and then you have this from the flight stand, and you can just plug that in, and you can get him to stand, and you can do some poses with him and stuff, and you can achieve this effect, something along those lines, doing something like this, crazy, whatever you want to do. And flight stand works in both modes, and that is pretty cool. Alright, for transformation here, we are going to pop these off and set them aside for now, and then we're going to get into doing a few things. We can pull these up, and well, let's start with the arms. So we are going to push the arms in, fold the hands up, and for whatever reason on this side, I did loosen some screws. Some of these screws, so fold up a little easier. This side folded just fine, but I'm going to fold them up and out of the way, and they're going to adjust into lining up and everything here in a bit. So we got this, and then kind of get the wings back out of the way, and then we need to untab these pieces here. Fold those down. We can just kind of lift this up. Those are going to come down here and get out of the way. And then we're going to move all of this whole contraption up. Huh. Head is on a ball joint. I popped it off. Anyway, that's a me thing, but get back to it. Get his head back on there. We can get right back to this. But this is a really tight ratchet area here. And there's a lot going on with it. I mean, it's simple. It's a simple thing, but it's just really tight. And I'm not going to say anything negative about something being tight, because I think that's a good thing. Let's try to keep all this in perspective here. All right, now we got to pull this up here. We're going to rotate it around, and then we're going to form the nose cone with it. Let me go up. All right, try to keep it all on camera there. So, well, we're going to put the cone head part in there, fold this down, push in on this piece here. We're creating a faux cockpit now, and then that's like that. This is going to come out and create a new cockpit that works like so. If my hands didn't cover everything that was going on with it. And then this is going to flip around. This is going to fold down. We're going to tab it in here in just a bit. So we got a few other things going on with it right now. So in here we are going to fold these pieces around so that we can bring this in and have something along the lines of that. So we can have room to tuck the arms in is really what's going on. And so that's what they decided to do with this type of transformation. It's not a ton of space, but what they did, and it works, so gets the job done. Then we're going to fold these up and in on themselves right in there, and then we're going to bring the arms, slide them down and in, and then so all that should work like so. Now these we'll have to adjust them as we work on some stuff. These are going to go into the pelvis area, is going to slide up and into place, but tab that in here in a bit. I think we can get it right now, but that's kind of a weak, but this is what holds it in place right here. So that's the big kicker. making sure that you've got that in place. So that works really well. And we really can't do much with the wings yet. We can tab this stuff in right here. You have 2 tabs right there and slots. So get all that lined up. And it actually requires a bit of pressure to tab those in. Make sure you got it lined up right, and then just give some pressure on that, tab that in. Flip it around to the back. We can go ahead and close this piece section here up, and that is fine. And then the wings are going to do a lot of sliding once we actually get this going with the legs. So we're going to do the legs, then we're going to put the wings in place and all of that. The wings are tabbed in, so they're going to come down and slide in appropriately with all that. So that's about to happen here in a bit. Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and get them sort of aligned, but there's going to be some sliding going on, as you can see. Now this is something, the wings are all a little bit different on these, so, but with a double joint, you want the lower joint to go over first and then the second joint, because there's just too much pressure with it if you try to go the other direction with it. So, all right. So we got that sort of in place. It's not all ready to go yet. It's going to do some sliding. Now let's get to the legs. The legs are pretty simple actually. So let's go ahead and lift up on this, and then you're going to disconnect from the knee, and you're going to slide it in, and then we're going to rotate this down. I didn't actually do that, did I? The foot's going to get folded into place, and then this is going to come down into place, and all that's going to line up like so. We're going to do the same thing on the other leg. Lift that up, and people like to call this combiner worsing this in. Untab that, push it down, and do what they call the combiner worsing. And then all of that's going to be about the same. I don't know how. I know I pulled those out for stability in bot mode, but they just kind of rolled in on their own. So I don't know why that was a thing. And then that's going to line up. Get this foot into place all the way. And then I didn't quite slide that up enough, did I? Yeah, there we go. And that came untabbed here. So let's make sure everything that can be tabbed in right now is tabbed in. And then we're going to work on these wings. So let's rotate this down a bit. Try to get these wings working here. So this is all going to connect from here to here. Then this is going to go into that. And then this is going to, the wing mechanism is just pretty much going to slide down into place. And then you just start lining up the tabs and tabbing them in as you go. So tab up here at the top. And I'm probably just going to have to do this off camera, but just going down and tabbing everything in. There's a tab that goes into here and tabs that go into there. And then this tab here. And then we'll just do the other side and just kind of line that up. Then I'm going to, off camera, just do the extra tabbing and make sure everything's plugged in, and then we're pretty much done. So relatively simple, straightforward transformation, just like the other ones. Not really anything, they're not reinventing the wheel here, they're not doing anything crazy, keeping it simple for the most part. And there we go. Let me get tabbed in, we'll look at it. It literally took 3 seconds to get those tabs to close off camera. That was funny. Okay, so we do have landing gear that I pulled out from here to here and here, and then we do need to add in this piece here. Now, this is a faux filler. It's got 2 tabs on it, and it's got this little slot that slides underneath here, and then you plug in the tabs and all of that, and then all of this should be able to bring this up to make it even with it, but I'm not too worried about that. I think it looks pretty good. The wheel. So real quick, here it is with the landing gear. I think it's going to be a better pose and a better way to pose it if you do it in the flight mode. So in the flight stance, we'll put that in here in just a second. But yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks great. It's a nice looking one overall. I do feel like the tabs that kind of tab the wings in are just a little bit looser than I would have liked, but that's probably my only real complaint about the alt mode. And then back here, I just can't quite get this perfectly flat. Maybe I just did it, but aside, that's a really nice alt mode. I mean, it's the same one they've been using all along, and so if you have MakeToys seekers, then you pretty much know what to expect. But we can go ahead and put it on the flight stand now, and then we can look at both of them on the flight stand into here. That's how that's going to work, and it feels like you got to put a lot of pressure on it, and I'm about to do that here. So here they both are in flight mode on their flight stands. I think that's a nice touch to have the flight stand and all of that kind of stuff, so you can get them in different poses, different angles. Here I put on the different missiles. There's like the missile here, and then the gun there, and we can do a few other things with it too. So let's show on this one here that you can actually change this. So there's two sets of holes. Yeah, you can do all this kind of different stuff with it, but there's two sets of holes on the wings over there, but really only one set of wings over here on this guy, and that's kind of what he looks like on the bottom there. So you can really only put one of these on at a time. And so let's pop this off and let's get these other ones on and see what we can make that look like. There it's on, and I took the flight stand down just a little bit more. So here we go with just kind of the standard ion cannons on there. And then also, in addition to the ion cannons, you can pop this off and you can put the shorter pieces on for that look. And so with that, they both look really good. I think this is a great addition, and maybe I can tilt this down just a bit so we can see it a little better on the camera. Maybe they can take a nosedive appearance there. And yeah, nice looking set in their jet modes. Pretty good. All right, so for comparison, I really don't have a whole lot to compare it to, but this is next to the Magic Square Optimus Prime, and here we go with a side size comparison to Magic Square Optimus Prime. That's how it looks. That's how big they are. They're, in my opinion, the right size. So this is my look at the MakeToys Jetstream and Booster, and I want to say that I actually like these more than their Dirge. I think that they've made some improvements here and there, especially with the shininess of the plastic, and it just feels pretty solid. They both feel pretty solid, a little more solid, well, a lot more solid than their Starscream, because I have like a Starscream from a couple of releases back. But I really like these. They do have a couple of issues, like the fingers are really flimsy, but that doesn't really affect the whole overall bot. And then the waist area was super flimsy on Starscream. They've kind of tightened that up a bit. And then adding in the stand, the flight stand, and a few other things without really affecting the price point much. I think that was a nice inclusion. And then the blast effects, all that stuff. It looks really good. I'm really pleased with these. This is going to be my set. Now, I did get this at Shozy. I'm going to link down below where you can get yours. And I'm curious what you think. Are you in on these? Are you going to wait for maybe someone to reuse Deformation Space Mold, which I would have liked to see happen, but it wouldn't have been this shiny? Or are you going to wait for Takara to do something with the 3.0, because that hasn't been announced yet, and if it is, it's still like a year out. So what you doing for your, are you still rocking some of the old versions? But curious to know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Cut your hair out.
Leader? How do you figure that, choo-choo brain?
I've got the proof right here. Where are you? Come on, guys! Astro Train couldn't lead rats to a garbage can.